Hi everyone, we're so excited to have you back with us at at our four pillars, and we're going to be recording this. But I'm so excited to have Dr. Lindsay Pennington, who is a longtime dear friend of mine, but also a colleague. So I am going to introduce her, and then I'm going to let her have at it for the next little bit. But she is a doctor of clinical nutrition and functional medicine and is a certified wellness coach. She specializes in supporting women with hard to treat nothing works health concerns, especially complex cases involving midlife nutrition, nutritional hormone support, PCOS, fatigue, complex skin conditions, MCAS, or autoimmune patterns, GLP support. Her work blends functional medicine strategy with practical evidence-based nutrition so clients can understand why they feel the way they do and follow a clear path. She earned her doctorate from the School of Integrative Health at Notre Dame of Maryland University, formerly Maryland of Integrative Health, and she completed it from the Institute of IFM, done tons of work through them, and she works directly with patients. She now works in an amazing startup. I can let her share more about her background on that, but I am going to let you take it away, my friend, and I'm going to go off video too.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for that introduction. Yes, Dr. Lindsay Pennington, and I am a doctor of clinical nutrition. And basically, what she was saying, I work for a company, a startup project just outside of Atlanta that's called Preserve Life. Head of clinical nutrition there, and working on large project development. Basically a longevity center that we create all of the programs and everything. And one of my passions and dissertation was on GLP-1s and weight loss and digestion. So today we're just going to talk about one of my programs that I'm developing, which is called Beyond the Stall. And it's an evidence-based guide to break through the weight loss plateaus. And I'm talking about weight loss, but it's very much focused if you're on a GLP-1, but you'll get a lot out of it if you are not. So, thank you for the introduction. That's pretty much what she just said. So what if the problem what if the problem isn't you? So most people think, okay, they give themselves such a hard time because they plateau when they have been on a weight loss journey. And so we just basically say it's not always you, it's actually biology. So you start the journey when you're on a GLP-1 or a non-medicated weight loss. You're managing your nutrition on your own or you're working with a provider. You made a commitment to your health. And it was working for a while until it wasn't. So your body changed the rules. Weight loss stalls aren't random. They're your body's biology responding to change, hormone shifts, metabolism, adapting to hunger signals, rewiring, understanding why is the first step to moving forward. So today we're going to walk you through the evidence-based science. This is why plateaus happen. I've got to get my faces out of the way. Um, and so we're going to look at it from a nutritional and movement, sleep, stress, and work on your biology at the same time. It's not just diet talk. This is clinical nutrition science, and we're designed to help your body take control of the results and get results. So here's a roadmap for you for today and what we're going to go over. It's 6 different core topics. We'll start with the biology, why plateaus happen in the first place. Then we'll move into nutrition and hormones and also touch on gut health, which is one of my favorite topics. And it's really where most of the tools live. We'll talk about movement and muscle, and I promise I'm not going to tell you just to exercise more. Then lifestyle and mindset, because sleep and stress are huge metabolic tools, and they're not just luxuries. We'll touch on some advanced strategies for those of you who have already tried the basics. And finally, we'll talk about what long-term success actually looks like. This is a highlights version. I do have a full program that we are developing, and we'll go deeper into that with worksheets, trackers, and specific protocols. But today you're going to walk through here, with real usable knowledge. So why plateaus happen? So this is section one. Let's talk about it. I think once you understand the biology here, you're going to feel a lot better about where you are. How weight loss actually works. A lot of people just beat themselves up, but it is, like I said, it's biology. So I want you to understand what your body is doing and why it doesn't always cooperate. So weight loss requires a caloric deficit, but that's not the beginning and it's not the whole story. Your body doesn't just passively burn calories, it actively adjusts hormones, hunger, metabolism, and energy in response to weight loss. So let's just talk about that. The energy balance, calories in versus calories out. Your body burns energy through resting metabolism, which is your BMR, your TEF, which is what is happening when you're digesting food, your daily movement, which is NEAT, and exercise. And I'll go into more of that in detail. It's a deficit that triggers weight loss, but also triggers your body's adaptive response. Your hormonal response, it's your body's thermostat. Leptin drops, ghrelin rises, thyroid slows, cortisol can increase. These hormonal shifts make you hungrier, reduce your energy expenditures, and make maintaining a deficit harder over time. It's biology, not weakness. Your metabolic adaptation, your body's resting metabolic rate can decrease beyond what weight loss alone would predict. Your body becomes more fuel efficient, burning fewer calories at rest, which is a survival mechanism working against your goals. Before we talk about why plateaus happen, let's make sure everyone understands how the medication works. I'm so sorry. I got to move your faces so I can see everything. Because when you understand the mechanisms, the plateaus make everything make more sense. GLP-1 medication, whether you're on semaglutide, Ozempic or Wegovy, tirzepatide, Mounjaro, or Zepbound, um, they work on four key pathways in your body. So first, they signal your brain to feel satisfied sooner. You sit down to eat. Your brain says that's not enough much earlier than it used to. Second, they improve how your body handles blood sugar. Better insulin sensitivity means less fat storage and fewer cravings. Third, they slow down gastric emptying. How fast it moves through your stomach is what is really happening. That's why you feel fuller for hours after eating. It's also why some of you experience nausea, especially early on. And fourth, this is one of the patients love the most. It quiets the food noise. And that's what we hear the most of is I don't think about it anymore. It's a constant mental chatter of what you're going to eat next. For many people, that relief is life-changing. Now, here's the key thing to understand. These medications are powerful tools, but they're not magic. They work best when combined with the right nutrition, the right movement, and lifestyle strategies. And when any of these pieces are missing, that's often where the stall begins. So first, let's the four plateau types. You've got your resting metabolic rate. It drops. This was demonstrated dramatically in the famous Biggest Loser study by Frothergill and colleagues in 2016. They found that contestants metabolize slower by hundreds of calories per day, below what would be predicted for their body size, and that suppression persisted over 6 years later. The body became more efficient, burning fewer calories with the same activity. Second, your hunger hormone shift. Again, leptin, your fullness hormone drops as you lose fat. And ghrelin, your hunger hormone, it increases. So you're fighting a biological drive to eat more while your body is burning less. That's not willpower failing, that's evolution working exactly as designed. And I just love to always teach my clients that it's not always your willpower failing. It's literally like your body acting. Um, so, oops. So first, your resting metabolic rate drops. Sorry. Second, your hunger hormones shift against you. Your leptin, your fullness hormone drops as you lose fat. Third, your body may partially adapt to the GLP-1 medication itself. The same dose was higher and effective at month 2, but becomes less effective at month 6. This is normal and adaptation. The key takeaway, a plateau is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It's a sign that your body is doing what it's supposed to do, and it means you need a new strategy. So, section 2, nutrition and hormones. Now let's get into the nutrition. This is where the rubber meets the road. If you change nothing else after today, the next few slides are what I want you to really focus on. So, protein is your most important tool. If you haven't heard it, we say it all the time. In my world, you have to eat your protein. And on a GLP-1, it's very difficult to do to hit all your numbers. So I'm going to try and help you just section it out and think about it more. But um, so get your protein right. Protein is the single most important nutritional tool you have. When you lose weight on these medications, you're not just losing fat. So the research from the STEP 1 trial, which is the landmark trial study, showed that without intervention, 26 to 40% of the weight lost can actually be lean mass. That's your muscle. We have to preserve the muscle. And when we lose muscle, your metabolism slows down, you feel weaker, and it becomes harder and harder to keep losing, and it's a vicious cycle. Protein prevents this. It preserves lean mass during a caloric deficit. It also has the highest thermic effect on any micronutrients, meaning your body burns 20 to 30% of the calories in protein just to digest it. Compare that to about 5 to 10% for carbs and barely anything for fat. Protein also keeps you fuller longer and stabilizes your blood sugar. On a medication that's already suppressing your appetite, adequate protein ensures that the food you do eat is working as hard as possible for you. So, what's the target? Based on the Morton meta-analysis in 2018, which is still accurate, we recommend 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. That works out to about zero 0.7 to 1 gram per pound. So we typically say whatever you weigh, you should eat in pounds of protein. Spread that across 4 to 5 meals, about 30 to 40 grams each, and start your day with protein and your meal with protein. This is critical. Never reduce protein to hit a carb or calorie target. Protein is non-negotiable. So, leptin, your fullness thermostat. So, I'm going to introduce you to this hormone if you've never heard of it. It's quietly running the show behind your plateau. Leptin is made of fat within your cells. The more fat you have, the more leptin you produce. And leptin's job is to tell your brain you have plenty of energy stored. You don't need this to eat much. It sounds great, right? The problem is leptin resistance. When you carried excess weight for the longest time, your brain gets flooded with leptin and stops listening to the signals. It's kind of like you stop noticing a smell after being in a room for a while. So even as you lose weight and your leptin levels drop, your brain doesn't trust the signals. It still thinks you're in a famine state. It increases hunger, decreases energy expenditure, and fights to get back to where it was. Here's where it gets really important. Sleep has a direct, powerful effect on leptin. Research showed that even short-term sleep restrictions significantly dropped leptin levels and increased ghrelin, the hunger hormone. So if you're sleeping 5 to 6 hours at night and wondering why you're so hungry, this is like a major factor. Your GLP-1 medication helps by working in the same brain area that processes your leptin, but the medication alone can't fix leptin resistance. You need the nutrition and sleep strategies. So, your gut microbiome, one of my favorite topics. Um, so it's something that you don't get enough, that doesn't get enough attention with the GLP-1 conversation, mainly because we're not eating enough, to be honest, when we're on a GLP-1. Maybe we don't even talk enough about it at all, really. But so when you're taking a GLP-1 medication, you're changing the speed at which food moves through your digestive system. This changes the transit time, and it directly affects bacteria living in your gut. And those bacteria play a much bigger role in your weight and metabolism than most people realize. Reduced food intake can also decrease microbial diversity, and diversity is a key marker of gut health. Many of the GI side effects people experience on these medications, the nausea, the constipation, the bloating, many are particularly reflect changes in your gut microbiome. So, what do you do about it? There's these 5 things. First, prioritize fiber-rich vegetables. Aim for 25 to 30 grams of fiber daily. I know that can be hard when your appetite is suppressed, but fiber needs to feed your good bacteria. Second, include fermented foods regularly. Yogurt, sauerkraut, kimchi, those are all very good. Third, consider a quality and good probiotic, multi-strain, at least 10 billion CFUs. Fourth, stay hydrated. One thing when your brain is telling you not to eat, it's also telling you not to drink. Water supports gut motility and microbial balance. So fifth, limit artificial sweeteners. There's emerging evidence that some artificial sweeteners can disrupt gut bacteria in ways that aren't helpful for your goals. So movement and muscle. I want to reframe how you think about exercise because it's not just burning calories. It's about protecting your most valuable metabolic asset, your muscles. So I need to kind of have a really honest conversation with you about the scale because the scale is lying to you on at least, well, it's not telling you the whole story. When you lose weight on a GLP-1 medication, you're losing a mix of fat and muscle. Without intervention, research shows that 26 to 40% of that weight loss can be lean mass. That's your muscle tissue, and muscle is your metabolic engine. So I want to be clear about something. You may have heard that muscle burns 50% more pounds at rest and even 15 to 20 calories. That's actually not accurate. Research shows it's closer to 6 calories per pound per day at rest. That may sound modest, but when you multiply it across all your lean mass and factor in the calories muscle burns during activity and recovery, it adds significantly. More importantly, losing muscle makes everything harder. Your metabolism slows down, you feel weaker, your energy drops, and your risk of weight regain goes away. So here is the goal. And this shifts, and I want you to like focus on it mentally. The goal is not to lose weight. The goal is to lose fat while keeping your muscle. This is called body recompositioning, and it's absolutely possible on a GLP-1 medication. The prescription is simple. Adequate protein, that 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilograms per day, combined with resistance training 2 to 3 times per week. And we'll talk about some training tools and what that looks like.
Yeah, it's only something I don't know.
Yeah. So one thing to really focus on, NEAT, your hidden calories that you're burning. So before we talk about strength training, I just want to highlight something that people consistently underestimate. This is the non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is what you're doing when you're not exercising, it's everything you burn outside of formal exercise, walking to your car, taking the stairs, standing at the kitchen counter, fidgeting while you talk on the phone, doing the dishes. Research has shown that NEAT can account for 300 to 500 more extra calories per day. So just keep moving. Think about it. When we're standing at an office desk, like do squats, take breaks. Um, Here's the problem. When you're on a GLP-1 medication and eating less, your NEAT drops. Your brain literally signals your move less to conserve energy. You might not even notice it. You just naturally sit more. You fidget less. You take the elevator instead of the stairs. It's not laziness, it's your brain trying to protect you. So, what do? You need to make NEAT more intentional. Track your steps, add 1,000 extra steps each week until you hit that 8,000 to 10,000 or more daily. Stand up every 30 minutes if you have a desk job. And here's my favorite tip, take a 10-minute walk after meals. It keeps your digestive moving. It's not only great for NEAT, it's also significantly improves post-meal blood sugar levels. So, focusing on strength training. Here's another half of the movement equation, strength training. And I can't emphasize how important this is. Resistance training is the single most effective intervention for preserving lean mass during weight loss. Nothing else comes close. Not cardio, not walking, not yoga, though all of those have their place. When you're strength training, you're sending a signal to your body that says, I need this muscle. Don't break down, I need it for energy. Without that signal, your body will happily use muscle tissue as fuel during a caloric deficit. Beyond muscle preservation, resistance training improves insulin sensitivity. It strengthens your bones, which is really important because bone density can decrease during rapid weight loss, and it reduces your long-term risk of regaining the weight. So here's the good news. You don't need to become a bodybuilder. The plan is simple, 2 to 3 sessions per week, 30 to 45 minutes each. Focus on compound movements, squats, deadlifts, presses, rows, and pulls. These are the big bang for your buck exercises that work multiple muscle groups at one time. One really easy thing to do is to keep weights in your bathroom. Do some squats, do some lifts. It's easy to add in to your daily routine. But if you've never lifted before, you can start with body weight exercises or machines. It's perfectly fine. The key is to progress over time, during a little more each week, and a little more reps and sets. And make sure you're eating protein within about 2 hours of training to support your muscles and recovery. So let's talk about the things nobody really talks about when it comes to weight loss: stress and sleep, and the stories you tell yourself. These are not soft skills, these are metabolic tools. So this one is so important and is the silent plateau driver. It's stress. Stress is not just a mental health issue, it's a metabolic issue. And for many of you, it may be the primary reason your weight loss has stalled. When you're under chronic stress, and I mean any kind of stress, work stress, relationship stress, financial stress, even the stress of not eating enough, your body produces cortisol. That's your stress hormone. Cortisol's job is to prepare your body for a threat. It raises blood sugar, it increases insulin, and shifts your body into fat storage mode, especially around the belly. It also inhibits lipolysis, which is the process of releasing stored fat for energy. So you're literally telling your body, hold on to that fat. We really need it. And here's the kicker: chronic stress reduces GLP-1 receptor sensitivity. Your medication is working less effectively when your nervous system is constantly fighting or flighting. Sorry. So what do you do next? There's 4 things that I want you to start this week. So we're going to start with morning light. This is very important. I teach all of my clients this, that we just have to start with morning light. When you get up, 10 to 15 minutes of natural sunlight within 1 hour of waking, very important. Turn off the blue lights. It's very hard. I know even right now we're looking at them, but screens after sunset suppress melatonin by about 50%. So it's just very important. And then sleep optimization. You need to target 7 to 9 hours. I know you've heard this so much, but we absolutely have to target and get the sleep. Our body is resting and repairing while we sleep. It increases the hunger hormones, it reduces insulin sensitivity, it impairs decision making. It's just the most necessary thing. So advanced strategies is the next phase. For those of you who are already doing the protein, the training, the sleep, and you're still stuck, this section is for you. So the calorie cycle of and carb cycling. This is just some examples, but a really good thing to do is to trick your body. Calorie cycling is to have high days and low days and then have a weekly total. So a lot of times people just think every day we're supposed to have X amount of calories in, calories out. But if you rotate high days and low days 2 times a week, add 200 to 300 extra calories. Low days reduce that 200 to 300. The evidence shows that it prevents full metabolic adaptation. The leptin and thyroid T3 respond positively to periodic calorie increases. And then do the same thing with carb cycling. A lot of times we're scared of carbs when we're trying to lose weight. But the high carb training days, so when you're exercising more, you need to eat more carbs. So 150 to 200 grams of carbs pre and post workout. You know, just adding in those oats, sweet potatoes, rice, and fruit, not to be scared of them. And then on your rest days, don't eat those. 50 to 75 grams of carbs, focus on vegetables and leafy greens. Keep that protein constant though. It's so important. So that 1.6 to 2.2 grams of daily across 4 to 5 meals, it's non-negotiable. And then the key principle is to match carb intake to activity level. So if you're working out more, obviously eat more, fuel the performance, and shift to fat burning on the rest days. There's a tool out there, I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a Lumen. It's a really amazing tool that will show you if your body is burning more carbs or more fat. I'm happy to introduce you to that. So your long-term success of keeping the weight off and for a lasting lifetime. The weight regain problem, up to 80% of people who lose significant weight regain most of it within 5 years, a lot much sooner. Again, I like to emphasize it's really not willpower problems. So 80% regain most of the weight. 95% will regain it without some kind of structure, and that's where I come in and I'm here to help, is just helping you with that structure. 2 times higher cardiometabolic risk after regain when you yo-yo. I'm sure you've heard it all your life. If you yo-yo diet, it really is hard on your heart. 20% successfully maintain long term. So that's our goal, is to be in that 20%. So you need regular self-monitoring. So weekly weigh-ins, if there's no issues of eating disorders or numbers are a problem, then self-monitoring weekly weigh-ins. I like a scale that teaches you if you're losing fat or muscle. Consistent sleep schedule. You know, it's so much better to just go ahead and go to bed at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night than to burn the midnight oil so that you are burning. High daily protein intake, I cannot emphasize enough, and regular resistance training, and then ongoing support. That's what you're here in this group for, and that's what I'm here for. So the 7 non-negotiables, obviously the protein, strength training, movement, sleep, stress, monitor, and community. So your next steps, Thrive Beyond community. If you want to have any more information on it, I do have a community that meets and gets together. So we can do a cohort, which is you join the Beyond the Stall. We work together for 6 weeks. If you want that, it goes beyond to have ongoing community. And what makes it different is we're all in it together. It's not cookie cutter weight loss program. It's just working through each of these individual things. I know a lot of it sounds redundant, but when you're working together and really focused on your goals, it really makes a difference. How to join the next, you can go to my website and hit get started or just log in and just chat. And if you have any questions, I am open to them.
Okay, if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and unmute and you can ask away and we can kind of chat a little bit more and go from there.
Or you can just talk about your experience, if you have an experience with weight loss or on a GLP-1, or just want to chat about anything in this regard.
Goodness, you're all so quiet.
Okay.
All right, anybody?
Lindsay, so when you do your program, this is Jessica, by the way. When you do your program, are you helping mostly with nutrition? Are you giving tell us a little bit more about how that works and
So in the Beyond the Stall program, it has meal plans, nutrition. I do focus mostly, obviously, on nutrition, but I really focus on the whole body. You know, functionally medicine trained is to work, you know, on the gut, on the sleep, on the getting the sunlight, on their circadian rhythms. I go a lot into all of those things in detail during this program. And then if I'm individually working with you, then yes, we're dialing into all of your daily habits and meal plans and programs. And I do make a lot of those suggestions in the program.
What do you do, Lindsay, when people are on? One of the big things I see in my clinic is that people get on these GLPs and they keep upping because they're so used to not having the food cravings. They're like, oh, but it calms the food noise. But then they get, like you said, they get in the stall, they get stuck. They're like, I'm not getting any weight loss anymore. I'm stalled. And part of me, I'm always just like, you guys have to feel a little bit of the food noise. You're probably not eating enough. You're not drinking enough. You're not moving enough. But do you have some quick little tips to share on that? Because that I think is probably the biggest problem that I see at my practice.
Yeah, so I think with anything, it's planning. So planning out your day. Sometimes I say set an alarm every 2 hours to eat something. Um, so if we're trying to get that protein in, then setting an alarm throughout the day. You know, when you're dialed into anything that you're trying to make change, you have to be very organized with. So I think helping clients, patients to really focus on that throughout the time and making sure that they know it may take a year to get this done, but it's a short period of time in your life. So let's just, you know, focus on these strategies. Um, and yes, I do think that they increase the doses too much because out of fear of it going away, but also really understanding what's happening with your body um, and you know reminding them that our body is fueled, so we have to give it fuel, whether it's you know muscle fuel or food fuel, and just reminding them that that's important and to stay organized with it. And I really think community is what does it, because we go about our day and we forget about it, but really like having that you know community to remind you and to get strategies from what other people are doing. I don't know if that answered
helpful?
you.
Hey Lindsay, this is Laura. I do a lot of carb cycling with my patients, but especially when we're weightlifting, I think it's so important for that. But what about the calorie cycling? Do you do it along with the carb cycling or do you do it separate? Like when do you know when you're meant to do outside of like working out and carb cycling, what do you see as far as like success in that area?
So I rotate it. So one week we'll focus, more on calorie deficit, and then I think you have to change up your body. And the research shows that you have to change up your body. It remembers things too much. So focusing on a caloric deficit this week, and then next week let's focus on, carb cycling and also, to be honest, I don't do as much calorie cycling. I try to have people not count calories as much as possible. But when we're trying to trick our body into change, these are just some tools to have. Um, and the cycling component of it, whether it's carb, whether it's calories, is what is beneficial. So it's almost like two different tools. Let's try this. Let's see if we see some change. Let's see if we break the stall. Um, is it focusing more on the carbs? Is it focusing more on, calories? Everybody's body is different. So not giving up as well.
I also want to just ask you one more question about the insulin factor. So obviously, GLP-1s are great, and I find them to be more successful with people without insulin resistance. But if we have insulin resistance, it seems like there's a lot of stalling with that due to the insulin resistance and perhaps even some inflammation, like, elevated CRPs or whatever. So what do you do? What do you recommend for those patients who seem to be slower out the gate anyways to lose weight and then seem to have more episodic stalling?
So we're not focusing on the weight loss at that point because there's so much more going on. We're focusing on the inflammation. So I often say table the weight loss, it will come. Let's focus on reducing inflammation. Let's see what you're eating. Let's see what your gut's doing. Let's see, what if it's stress related. Like let's focus on that. Yes, we'll continue on the weight loss journey, but you kind of have to table it in order to focus on some of the other areas.
Thanks. That's great. There is somebody that had a question. Somebody said, would you mind posting that community link again?
So you can go to clinicalnutritiondoctor.com and you can comment in there. Just put your name and information and it comes to me. There was one with the three across. Oh, it's that one. Anybody else?
I think this was really great because I think so many of us just think about the calories and forget about those other pillars. So thanks for the reminder. I really appreciate it. I think this was really helpful and helpful for taking this back to my patients as well. So I appreciate you, Lindsay.
Yes,
Yes,
it's
no problem.
awesome.
I know it's high level and probably things that some people have heard. It's just good a reminder. And in the program, we go a lot deeper into leptin resistance, insulin resistance, things like that. So
Yeah, I think the program's going to be awesome. I know at least for my patients, this is something we're going to be rolling out at my private practice of what Lindsay's built. So I'm really excited about it. Oh,
well,
hold
thank you
on.
for having me.
Let me see. Okay, that you answered the chat. Sorry about that. I was seeing the chat. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you all for coming, and you'll get a copy of this recording, and I'll make sure to share it with your clinician so that they can share it with you guys. Thanks so
Thank you,
much.
Lindsay. This was so informative. We really appreciate you coming to talk with us and our patients.
Thank you. Everyone have a good evening.
Too.